The ongoing property slowdown has seen annual house price growth slip below 5% for the first time in 5 years. So which areas are falling fastest? Joining me now is QV National spokesperson Andrea Rush. Andrea, this is quite a sustained slowdown. Which areas are affected the most?
Well, if we look at the nationwide figure, values rose 4.8% over the past year, which is the slowest rate of growth since August 2012. But values across the board are up 1.2% over the past quarter. That's driven mainly by growth in the regions. If we go to Auckland, value growth over the past year was only 2.8%. Now that's the slowest rate of growth since 2011. And values actually dropped back 0.2% across the region over the past quarter.
Okay, so actually a small fall, 0.2% in the last 3 months. How about if you break down and continue looking at Auckland, but break it down suburb by suburb, what are you seeing?
Yeah, that's really interesting because values are not falling across the board. In fact, what we're really seeing now is values coming back in those very outer reaches of the Super City region. Rodney North down 3.2% over the past 3 months. Papakura down 2.5%, Franklin down 2.2%, and Waitakere City down 1.1%. But the Auckland central suburbs still rising, parts of the North Shore still rising, parts of Manukau. So, you know, it's an interesting picture, not a comprehensive drop.
Sure, quite a mixed bag. In fact, some of those suburbs, they really are the most far-flung, often new subdivisions.
Yeah, that's right. One other thing we are seeing is some of those new subdivisions in places like Flatbush and Albany are seeing that sales prices are having to be discounted. And these are areas that speculators were very active previously, not so much now since the latest round of LVRs.
That's right. Okay, if we look at some of the headline numbers across the rest of the country, some of the other big centres, what are you seeing?
Yes, well, Wellington also interestingly down over the past quarter. That's the Wellington region. So values no longer rising there, they are also dropping.
And that was quite the leading the charge there for a while, wasn't it?
Absolutely it was. So really starting to see a slowdown in Wellington. Also Christchurch is still flat or decreasing across most parts of Christchurch. And Dunedin quarterly growth has slowed to under 1%. So again, the market's still quite buoyant there, but slowing. But if you look at the regions, it's very strong. All areas of the North Island, apart from Auckland, are actually rising over the past 3 months. So it's really, you know, still quite strong out there, particularly in places like the Hawke's Bay, really racing ahead, and the Wairarapa, South Wairarapa.
Right, you mentioned LVRs. What are some of the other main factors that are contributing to the slowdown?
That's right. Well, we've sort of got the perfect winter slowdown storm, really, of the LVR restrictions, the stricter banks' lending criteria, really constraining activity down to below 30% of what it was this time last year. That's not just in valuations coming through the system, but also in sales volumes. And you've also got to factor into that traditionally elections, the winter prior to elections, are always that bit slower due to the uncertainty of potential changes of governments or changes of housing policy. Some people take a wait and see approach. We've also got that factor of, you know, less money coming in from China with the crackdown from the Chinese government on the flow of capital out of China. So we're hearing that, you know, Chinese buyers who may have been purchasing, speculating, coming in as new migrants, or even just buying from overseas, are finding it harder to get cash out to purchase here. So that's another factor that's at play in the slowing market.
If we turn our thoughts towards the future, first day of spring today, normally you'd expect a bit of a bounce back. Are you expecting that traditional bounce back to occur this time around?
Well, I think we can expect to see things pick up when spring comes, but it may be a little late to arrive this year because of the election. So, and this is what happened back in 2014 too. Things picked up once the result was confirmed, and of course that could be changeable depending on who makes up the government and what policies are announced. So really it's going to be a bit of a wait and see, but those underlying factors in the Auckland market, particularly strong net migration, a lack of supply, mean that, you know, it's possible that things may start moving forward again or rising again come next year.
We'll have you back in a month and we'll see if you're right.
Thanks,
Andrea Rush,
Tristan.
thank you.